Hi there, today we're going to learn about how to add a gradient overlay to an image in our Wix Studio website. So here I am in my Wix Studio website, so we'll just scroll down to find the section that I want to add an image in, right here. So take in mind that Wix Studio doesn't have a way to add a gradient overlay if you add an image individually in your website. So for example, I'll add an image right here. And then I'll choose 6 single images, and I'll choose this image right here. So if I add an image like this in my website, I won't have the option to have a gradient overlay. So for example, I click on the background. I don't have the option to add in image overlays. For example, I click on settings. It's just the same. I don't have an option to have a gradient overlay in my image. I do have some image for overlays, but it doesn't really have the gradient overlay option. So what we can do is make this image as a background of our section, and then we will have the option to add the gradient overlay. So I'll just delete this image first, and then click the section that I want to add the image. So I want to add the image here from the white section of my website, and then open the inspector tool right here on the side, and then scroll down to media, and then we will just add the image right here. So take in mind, you can have the option to choose from the Wix gallery, Shutterstock gallery, and Unsplash gallery. But take in mind, if you will use the Shutterstock, you will need to pay for the images used there. If you want to upload your own images, just click on upload media and then upload your image, and then it will be seen right here on the site files. So for example, I want to choose an image right here. For example, I want to choose this image, and then we'll just click on change background, and there we have our image present in our background. And in order to add the gradient overlay, just click on the background color right here, and then click on the gradient option. And then from here, you have the option to add some gradient overlays. For example, I want to have a radial gradient overlay, and then I'll change the color into, for example, pink. And then once we do that, just close this one and then change the opacity to a lower color. So we can see that the gradient overlay becomes more significant if we change the opacity to 0, as opposed to having a higher value of your opacity. And then if you want to change it, so you have some different options right here. You can also make the gradient into conic, and then choose a different colors. For example, I want to choose yellow, and then if you're happy with that color gradient, you can just click on add here, so that you have this option in your gradient overlay. And then that is basically it in adding your gradient overlay to an image in Wix Studio, and I hope you learned how to do it, and thank you for watching.